A show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on GTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Turtola Pier Park, NV Salon, Nail Spa and Barbershop, Tisley Cross Deliciously Smooth Cider, and Digicel, simply more speed, reliability and entertainment.
Tisley Cross Cider. Tisley Cross Cider. Deliciously smooth.
This is The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this edition. On set with me is a first time on the set of The Big Story, Reverend Dr. Melvin Turnbull. It's a pleasure having you here. Don't say what a surprise.
Well, thank you, Kathy. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. And I want to commend you, first of all, though, for what you do. The Big Story, TBS.
TBS.
Yeah, and because of what you do, a lot of people are more educated and more aware of what's happening, so that's good.
Okay, and that's the reason why when we saw that flyer saying a diamond, is it a diamond?
Diamond, yes.
A diamond celebration, this is worth recognition. 60 years, and we're talking here about the King Garden Bay Baptist Church going on 60, and that's what that comes down to what we talk about so much. The foundation of the Virgin Islands is one of Christianity, one that is centered around church, around Christ, and the people being focused on the God of this universe.
Yes. 60 years is not 60 minutes.
Definitely.
No 60 days, no 60 weeks, not even 60 months. So you must know that it's worth celebrating because God's been good to us. You know, as I look over the years, of course, I've not been the pastor for 60 years. I'll talk about that maybe if we have time. But the truth of the matter is, over the years, I've just seen the goodness of God, the faithfulness of God. And Kathy, I sit here today not suggesting that it's been a smooth ride, but it's been a glorious ride. And all through the ride, you can see the faithfulness of God. So he's been good to us, and we've been seeking to be kind to the community that we serve as well.
Tell us a little bit about the birth of the King Garden Bay Baptist Church.
Yes, actually it was back in July of 1962. Sounds like a long time, right?
Yes.
Yes, two missionaries by the name of Jerry Smith and Moss came from the United States, and initially they worked out of Rotown, established Rotown Baptist Church, which is now transferred to New Life Baptist Church. And then from there they worked their way over to Cane Garden Bay, as well as Bruce Bay and surrounding areas. So the church in Cane Garden Bay was established in 1962 in the month of July. And over the years, we've just had a whole lot of leaders that God has inspired and blessed, not just leaders, but men and women who love the Lord, making great impact in the community. So in 1962, that's when the doors were first opened, and you must know that quite a lot has happened since then. Like I said, we've had several pastors, we've had the missionaries that I just mentioned, we've had other pastors from other parts of the Caribbean, like V.R. Liebert. He was there, he served for a term. And then we had some others serving very short stint in between. And then in 1968, we had a gentleman by the name of Edric Jones, Pastor Edric Jones, affectionately called PJ. And he was originally from Nevis. He's now residing in St. Thomas. He came out of the Missionary Baptist Church, Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, as a missionary, as a young man with a wife. He came to our shores, and he made tremendous impact here in the Virgin Islands. As a matter of fact, under his ministry, one of the most renowned things that people talk about is a choir. A choir like none other. I'm not just saying so, but it was so. And out of that general choir came a youth choir by the name of the Young Endeavors. Up to this day, people are still talking about the Young Endeavors. In fact, we're going to have a great reunion this coming Sunday.
I was just going to ask about
yes,
that.
so we're going to have members of the Young Endeavors who are scattered all over to come together on Sunday, this coming Sunday, and just have a great time. But I think more particularly they're going to be here at our church on the 5th Sunday, which is our praise Sunday. We don't preach a sermon per se, we just sing praises unto the Lord. And they are going to be the main feature. So let me make that correction. It's not this Sunday, but you can still come to Sunday. It is actually the 5th Sunday.
Okay.
And out of that group, we have seen tremendous men and women who have done great things in this community. If I call some names, you will say, yeah, I remember him, I know him. So the young man that led that group was then a youth pastor. Well, he came afterwards. He became a youth pastor under my ministry, and he served as the youth pastor, and we revived the Young Endeavors. There was a little lull in between, and his name was Pastor John Klein, now known as Bishop John Klein.
Okay.
So he had his start also at CGB Baptist Church, as well as many others.
Wow. Tell me about your pastoralship at King Garden Bay.
Yeah, before I get there though, I want to talk about some others too, because so it will have to start from Pastor Jones then and move from there, because he left these shows in 1976. And so after he left in 1976, Pastor Elroy Liebert, now pastor of Mount Carmel Baptist Church, he took over the work in Huntumscut, because we had established in 1975 a mission by the name of Faith Baptist Mission, now known as Faith Baptist Church in Road Town. So he took that over, and I stayed in King Garden Bay, and I've been there ever since. So since 1976, the Lord has allowed me to lead the church. Now, I was doing the work, but what was not ordained until 1981. Because even though I loved the work, did the work, I wanted to make sure that's where God wanted me to be. Everybody thought I should be there. Everybody said I must be there.
You weren't fully convicted that,
exactly. I was doing the work, and that's all that mattered.
Yeah.
But then after a while, it sunk in. Yeah, you're doing the work. Yeah, but hey, God has called you. You better say yes.
This is where you gotta be.
I said yes.
Yeah.
And so from 1976 to date, the Lord has been kind to us. You can imagine that we have undergone a lot of transformation, but our heart has always been the same, ministering to the total man. So our vision as a church is to become a place where people are made whole in every sense of the word. And the mission is to provide an atmosphere, create an atmosphere where wholeness can be experienced. Now, every year, especially every 5 years, we undergo a serious review, evaluation of ourselves. And out of those evaluations come a lot of change. So over the years, you'll see some things shifting and changing, because you got to be relevant as a church. But the heart remains wholeness and ministering to the whole man. So now we have a mantra where we gather, we grow, and we give. So we gather to experience God's love. We grow in small groups, and then we give back that love to others. Okay, so if you want to know what we're about,
I saw those three little words there.
Yes.
And I fly way down to the bottom under the. I saw them.
And it made you curious, I'm
Yes.
sure. So when you ask, well, what is that all about? We can tell you in a nutshell what CGB Baptist Church is about. We gather to experience God's love. And boy, has He been good to us. And we grow in small groups, and we give that love back. And we've been giving. As a matter of fact, as a church talking about holistic ministry and giving, you can see that we have been and still continue to be involved in every facet. In the society, we are involved. And you know about some of them.
A lot of them.
we are involved wherever. And maybe I just need to mention one or two so people can know, because they're always asking, where's the church? What is the church doing? Well, the church is not a building, the church is people. So wherever we are, that's where the church is. But more particularly, CGB Baptist Church is known has always been known as a catalyst, a trendsetter, an icebreaker, one who goes against the norm. We are not really conventional per se. So you'll find us in places where others would not go, doing things that others would not do.
And that starts another, and I was going to come to that
because we are following the mandate of Christ. We're not trying to be like other churches. We're trying to be like Christ. That's the key right there. And so if you ask me where he would be if he were here physically, he would be in the marketplace.
Okay.
So I'm going to get to where I think you want to go.
All right.
So for example, man, you see us, we have given to education. For 5 years, we sponsor the school from primary to secondary to tertiary. And over a period of 5 years, we gave a total of $15,000 to education, because each one of these institutions have touched us. And we wanted to give back. So we give back. You will see us in Heritage Month, because we understand that a people without a heritage, and one that does not understand where he came from, really doesn't have a sense of where he's going to go. So it was back in 1997 where, after we've had our own Heritage Month at our church for years and still do, we looked around and we saw that the celebrations were deteriorating to a point where people misunderstood what it was all about. Just fete and just a whole lot of other stuff, and not talking about heritage. So, typical CGB Baptist Church, rather than cursing the darkness, we decided to light a candle, get involved. So your pastor rolled up his sleeve and we went there. So from 1997 until to date, we are there. Now, in 2004, we advanced the cause. We went to government. We said, listen, this needs to be better and bigger. So we were able in 2004 to get through proclamation the month of August to be known as Heritage Month. So all that has to do with spiritual celebration, that's what Virgin Islands Heritage Month is all about. I know we're not talking about that.
No.
Just wanted to mention that. So we've been involved, and then we've been involved. We've been involved in pageants, but not regular pageants. They have to mean something. We have to have an opportunity to represent Jesus Christ. So we've had so far 2 queens in Win BVI.
Oh yes.
So if you want to find queens, we would advertise. Just come to CGB Baptist Church, because that's how we see ourselves. Now, some people think that we are cocky. No, we are not. We're just confident. We know who we are, and so we seek to represent Christ, and we believe that excellence is the greatest advertisement for the kingdom.
Yes.
So we seek to be excellent in every way.
Yeah, and that ties into what you said earlier. You deal with the whole.
Exactly.
There is a social side of us. There is a spiritual side of us. There is that emotional
Oh,
side
preach,
of
Kathy.
us. Just yesterday, I had this conversation with this person who was so heated about the topic. We were talking about the gospel session that is going to be opening up festival celebration, and it's like you don't take God for a mock. You don't go sanctify a ground for people to front and frolic and throw up their rear end. That was an interesting thought.
Sister Kathy, that's been a long fight for years. People have not grown up, have not matured. They have the same fight for years. And guess what? The most opposition that I have gotten doesn't come from the world. It comes from people who proclaim to be Christian, who simply do not understand the mandate that God has given us. If you're telling me that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, if you're telling me that Jesus Christ was found with sinners, eating and drinking with them, if you tell me that he was in the marketplace and I can't go there, something is wrong with that. There's a disconnect somewhere. And then watch the hypocrisy. Okay, so we said there are hypocrites out there doing all kind of stuff, but the same people go to work, don't they?
All right.
And Are they all doing what's supposed to be done? But you don't say that these kind of people at work, so I'm not going to, oh, I need to make $1. Oh, so hey, so is money your driving force or is Christ your driving force? So when you listen to people, it's either ignorance or sometimes it's sheer arrogance too, that they do not understand what the kingdom is all about. So we are in places, and talking about that, let me just push this one in since we're pushing the envelopes. Poker Run, for example.
All right. Before you even go there, I was touched. I was literally touched, and this is honest. When I was doing an interview with your dear son, Dr. Mike, and the first thing that he said was, my parents called me this morning and they prayed with me. I was moved by that, that's to show that, you're dealing indeed with the whole.
Yes, because I understand, and I've said to my folks all the time, now those who've been following my ministry understand that I lead a reproductive ministry. I believe in reproducing. And by the way, the people that come after me must not be just as good as me. They got to be better. 3 times as much. And so my sons, as you know them, they're all making great changes and making a difference in society. And that's because of their mother. We together, we try to have set a good foundation for them and not to stifle them, but to help them to understand what your mandate is what you need to follow. And so they understand the heart of ministry. And so when the idea of the Poker Run came up, of course, Dr. Mike, who is the executive pastor of the church, who will soon be the senior pastor, he said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm trying to make a difference. I said, yeah, that's cool. Somebody my age generally should say, what are you talking about? That's not Jesus. But you know what I found? That God has given me this sense of adjustment and innovation. The things that people frown on, I find that God has given me that ability to say, hey, so who are you pushing? Jesus. Great, let's push him. Because Jesus, you don't have to apologize for him. He's big enough and quote unquote bad enough to handle himself. So, and when I look at that, it makes a statement, Kathy. It says, we are not afraid to go. Because that's the message that Jesus gives us. The command is to go. We want to be up in an air-conditioned thing. Y'all come in here. No, they may come, but we must go.
Yeah.
But not only that, we must go with a sense of purpose. And so when he decided to get involved, and of course his brothers on board, we are like that. We support each other everywhere. Not in the wrong, but whatever we believe is right and can make a difference in this society for the kingdom of God, we support each other. To this day, my wife and I, whenever the boys, you see what I'm saying? Whenever
your sons will always be your boys.
Yeah, but whatever these gentlemen are doing, even now that they're men, we support them. Even if we can't be there physically, we are there.
Yeah.
We are praying for them. In fact, we pray for our family every day without fail.
Nothing like prayer parents, but we'll bring this right back to that 60th. Give us a quick run. We could go on and on for this. This is a lovely conversation. Yes. But I'm so happy about that. Those myths and misconceptions that you were able to shed some light on. But how are we celebrating?
Yeah, we're celebrating 60 years. Boy, I tell you, this is exciting for us. How we started out, well, we started planning like 2 years ago. And we said, listen, we want to make sure this is great, this is grand. It's going to be awesome, off the chain. Anybody that doesn't have a ticket to go to the gala dinner ought to get it. So, Kathy, I hope you do have yours. Because I don't want you to hear about it. I want you to be there to experience it. So the 60th, what we decided earlier in the year is to make sure we bring back pastors, psalmists, anybody who has come through and in some way have impacted or been impacted by CGB Baptist Church. So from January to date, and we're going to go beyond July, we're having a pastor to come as our guest speaker. We're having a psalmist to lead the worship and so forth, because we want people to understand we are one. And it's important what you did, so that we can't forget the shoulders on which we stand. And it must be continued. So this coming Friday, the 15th, is when we celebrate in proper our anniversary, 60 years. So we're having a gala dinner. It's going to be at the moorings, and tickets have been going very fast, and we have a limited amount. So I would suggest and you shouldn't miss this, really, to be honest with you. It is such an historic time that I don't think anybody who can should miss it. You don't want to hear about it. You want to be able to tell your grandchildren, I was there.
Yes.
I was actually there. No, I wasn't there when the church opened, but I
But
sure was
there
there
for the
when they
60th.
celebrated the 60th. So we're looking forward to a grand time. Of course, it's going to be good food, good fellowship, a lot of fun. We have folks from the United States and elsewhere have been touched by the ministry. They're going to be here. There's a lot that's going to happen on the 60th proper. And then on the Sunday, that's really going to be a breakdown time of fellowship. Or should I say broke down time of fellowship?
Broke it down.
Yeah.
Deal with it now, right?
Yes, we're going to have a guest speaker, and guest is going to be the Pastor Jones's son.
Okay.
He's going to be this guest speaker, and Pastor Edric Jones should be here on that day as well. So, that's going to be something else. We're looking forward to that. And again, like I said, we're going to have special items and a whole lot of different things. And after church, because we not only believe in fellowship, we also believe in swallowship, a word that we invented some years ago. So it's a time when you don't have to cook when you come to church. Put your plates down, and it's all free. All the food that you would ever need is going to be there on site. So right after we finish fellowshipping, we go straight into swallowship. That's why you got to get your ticket. People keep asking, what is the church doing? I remember during the hurricanes and before that, we have been giving out, and even now with the Blanche and Blanche Pantry, we're giving out food and meeting the needs of society. That's what the church is all about. So we're continuing in that vein. And if the 60 years before me were great, my God, I can't wait to see what the next 60 is going to be.
Where do I pick up a ticket?
You can get one from me, but more importantly, you can get one from the Wellness Center or from the CGB Baptist Church. So I would like folks to make sure you get a ticket. Again, they're going pretty fast. You don't have a lot of time. So call the church, 442-4222.
All right, you
I
got it.
yes. And they'll be glad to get you a ticket. Or you can go to the Wellness Center and get your ticket.
I am so blessed and feel really honored to have you on set today. Interesting discourse is one that we must continue. This is your first, and please don't let it ever be your last on these kinds of discussion, whatever is happening in our city. And the transformation of Christianity in this territory is one that we must continue to talk about.
And people need to understand that. I hear a lot of people talking badly about the church, cussing and criticizing and so forth. Of course, I don't pay attention to that. I say they're ignorant, they just don't know. Or if they're arrogant, if they're ignorant, I can educate them. If they're arrogant, I just want to leave them alone and leave them to the Lord. But, people don't understand. If you think it's bad now, take the church out. It's a hypocrisy. We don't fuss about the many bars, but we fuss about the many churches. And once you have human beings involved, you're going to have imperfection. But the imperfection of human beings do not make the system or the God imperfect.
Awesome. And I'm happy to end on that note, remembering that whether you be in the church or out of the church, whether you're a leader or not, first, you're human.
Amen.
First, you're thank you so much.
Or you can preach that. Tell me when you're preaching that.
Right.
I want to be there.
I want to thank you for taking time out for joining us on this edition of The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards.